Hey folks, Ty Cohen here from KindleCashFlow.com, and today I've got one of my favorite individuals from the Kindle Cash Flow community, Gabrielle Speth. And the reason why I say she's one of my favorite is because she is amazingly artistic. I'm always looking at like the designs that you throw into the group. I'm looking at like your artwork, and that's a talent that I don't have. My oldest son is very artistic as well, so I kind of like envy him and like you and people that are able to go in and just doodle. I noticed that a few of the characters that you drew of myself and Marty and Josh and of like the KCF live event were just so spot on. I'm like, he's one of my favorite individuals in the group there. So
Well, thank you.
this actually on a Sunday afternoon right now. She was gracious enough to say, hey, Ty, I'm an open book. If you want to interview me, let's do it. So here we are. So I appreciate having me here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to be here.
Very, very cool. Now, Gabrielle, I want to kind of talk about who are you? I know that you got, I think you said you have 3 kids, right?
Yes, I have 3 kids.
Okay, so we were talking about that during the KCF Live. I think it was the April event. I don't know if you remember, but I was saying that I have 4
Yeah.
2 boys, 2 girls, and you have 2 boys and 1 girl?
I have 2 girls and a boy. Yeah, so 7-year-old girl, 5-year-old boy, and a 2-year-old girl.
Very cool. Look at how her face lights up when she talks about her kids. I love it. That's very cool. That's how you can tell when there's like unconditional love for the kids. You just see in a mom's face like they just totally light up. So now one of your daughters actually published a Kindle book, right?
Yeah, she wrote a book because I'm always on my computer typing away, and so she was like, I want to write a story. And so I showed her. I mean, she barely knows how to use the computer. She was 6 at the time, or I think she had just turned 7 when she published it. But so she just is kind of like tapping slowly and writing her little stories, and then I helped her kind of add some rhyming words, and then I would illustrate her books, and she has published 2 books.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, with the illustration, so that was a question I was going to get into. So you helped her with the illustration and everything else.
Yeah.
Now, that was just her seeing you on the computer, and then she just like got interested in it. She's like wondering what's mommy doing on the computer all the time. Is that it?
Yeah, well, and she knows like when I get one of my books in the mail, when I do paperback books, and I get so excited, and I'm like, look, do you want to see? And I show her my new covers when I get them from my cover designer. And I kind of ask for her opinion, like, what do you think of this one? Do you think it's pretty or not? And she likes being a part of the process.
That is very cool. And I guess it's like at her age, would you say she was 7?
She's 7, yeah.
She's 7? Like just seeing it all come into place, like from you putting things together on the computer to it actually coming in the mail, and then her putting her input in, and, you know,
yeah,
her saying your name on there, right? Probably. Or
yeah.
I mean, that's
I mean my pen name, yeah. But
right. So that's got to be an amazing thing for her to, like, as she gets older, like as she gets like 15 to 16, 17 years old, she'll have that process in place, actually being able to conceptualize it, like from idea to being able to go in and put it into place. Because with Kindle publishing, and I think just with business in general, as adults, we'll have an idea, but the toughest part is like either having the idea and putting it into place to make that idea come to fruition, right? That's one of the toughest things sometimes. And then the other toughest part of being an adult and wanting to do something is just knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know like what to get into. And sometimes we ponder that for months or years or decades sometimes. And
yeah, feeling like you have to like learn things as an adult. It's like, oh, that's impossible. There's no way.
Yeah. So I say all that to say that I love the fact that your children are right there and they're seeing what's happening. And, you know, you have one of them, your daughter, actually knowing the process and it being like super normal for her. I don't know. Right. So now that we've talked about your daughter, right, for enough time, what got you into like Kindle publishing? Like what was that thing?
So I wrote a book in 2016. My mom had published a children's book. She went through just a publishing company that was near her in Las Vegas. And so she published a children's book, and the person really, like, she paid this person who just did it all through Kindle publishing. And so like basically like they published it for her under their Kindle publishing account.
Yeah.
And so she didn't know any of the steps of doing this. And I was just like, that's so cool that like we have this book that my mom wrote and like her pictures on the back, and it's about one of her grandkids. And so I just thought that was so cool. And I'd been wanting to write for a long time. But in high school, I had teachers who just were like, I don't know if you could ever be a writer. Like, this is a good story, but, you know, like I never really had great input on any of my stories that I wrote, like, or had to write in school, but I loved doing it. But I was like, okay, I guess I'll never be a writer. And, but then once my mom was doing it, I was like, well, maybe I can do it. And so I just kind of jumped in because I've just always have stories going on in my mind. I mean, my mom was told I had ADD when I was a kid, like I can't focus, but it's because I'm always like daydreaming.
Right.
So I was just like, I'm just going to put all that into words. And I was nursing my 5-year-old, or my son who's 5 now. He was just born, and I was nursing him and just writing on my phone, like writing on Word.
As you're taking care of him.
Yeah. Yeah. So like when he was eating or sleeping, I would just be on the phone, like typing it away as I can. And I wrote a 60,000 word book in that year. And then I just didn't do anything with it.
Well, now you said a couple of things that are super interesting. You wrote a 60,000 word book from your phone.
Yeah.
Now, because that I think is fascinating. There's oftentimes when we want to do something, we think that we have to have like the best computer. We think we have to have the best equipment, right? We think that we have to have the best information. And the fact that you went in and you took your phone, you were kind of like in your, I'll call it net time, like no extra time, meaning you were doing one thing, but at the same time doing another thing, and that is putting this 60,000 word book together.
Yeah.
Just fascinating.
Yeah. And I did a lot of just like Googling, just like how many words should a book be, and like layout of a story and what it should look like, and just stuff like that. But I didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of wanted to write. And so I just wrote it like just from beginning to end without laying it out first.
Yeah.
And then I went back and changed it a lot. And then I handed it over to some of my family members, and I printed it out just to print it out because I thought it would be cool. It was like this stack of papers. And I did send it to a publisher who said that they would like to take it on, but I would have to put in money to invest, and I didn't have the money to invest.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's okay. Maybe somebody else will take it and I won't have to invest so much money. But it was November of 2020. My husband is always looking into online businesses and things to do that he doesn't have to go to work every day, like, and he wants to be his own boss. And he had that opportunity until COVID happened, and then kind of like cut it all down.
Yeah.
But he did see, I don't know where he saw a video of you, Ty, but he was like, this guy's making money just like publishing books, and he's not even writing them. And and he's like, and you wrote a book, like, so you can just like publish these books. And he's like, so I got this course for you. And I was like, okay. And I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, I'm just like, okay, I guess I'll just watch it when I'm home with the kids. And so I just started watching your videos, and I got really into it and was like taking so many notes and just studying and studying and studying. And every day I was watching them. He was like planning on watching them with me after work, but I was already way ahead of him.
Okay.
I was like, this is amazing. Like, I got to get my books out now, and I got to finish writing the series, because the 60,000 word book I wrote was supposed to be one of 3.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, but I just never started on the second book in the past 5 years. And so I was like, now I have like this motivation to get writing.
After the course, right? Getting the course, and then now you've got something to kind of give you a little bit more structure, maybe, and a framework.
Yeah. But and my husband told me too, he's like, it sounds like we should go through the whole course before starting actually publishing. But I was very impatient. And I was like, well, I already have a book. I might as well just start publishing it, because it tells us right here on like one of these episodes early on, like how to publish a book and how to create your profile on Kindle and all that. And so I just like dove right in and started publishing, and I joined the Facebook group. And I wasn't in the FastPass group at the time.
Okay.
But I think about a month in, I decided to join the FastPass.
Wow. Very cool. So I like the fact that like your husband, I've heard you talk about that, and I think it was at Kindle Cash Flow Live where your husband got the course for you. I've never heard of that before.
Oh,
So
really?
always stick with me, right? I think that's a beautiful thing to have a spouse or someone that's close to you to say, hey, I know that you've got talent here, to recognize that you have talent, that you have skill, or that you're interested in something, and then go in and say, hey, I got this thing for you. This is your gift. This is your prize, right? For you.
Yeah.
That was cool. And then the other thing is him having so much interest in the direction that you were going in, to the point where he said you should go through the course, right? As it's out. So I think that was, something cool. I want to really give your husband a big shout out because, it seems like he's really instrumental in your progress there.
And he is. And he watched a lot of the videos. He ended up just like, he's like, I'm handing it over to you. He's like, because you're already way ahead of me.
Right.
And I had my ideas of what I wanted to do. And he's like, and he really wants to get into it with a ghostwriter of his own, but he's kind of waiting until I get to that point. Where I'm doing really well in my publishing. And then he's like, and then we can just kind of support each other and start publishing books together. And that would be really exciting. But he does so much. Like, he comes home after working 12 hours and then he's like, hey, what do you need me to do so you can go write? Like, he's like, do you need me to take the kids somewhere? Then we'll go to the park, or, you can sneak downstairs to the office and try to get some writing done. And so he's always, and he'll like text me during his lunch break at work and just like, how many words have you written today? Or how's it going today? Have you watched any videos? Because I always tell him I need to watch more of the course videos, like more often. Because I feel like I always miss something because I'm too impatient. So he's very supportive.
That's cool. You have a built-in accountability partner there, right? And him. So him just being focused enough to say, hey, Gabby, where are you at, right? Have you watched it? That right there is, in the Facebook group, we have people that meet up and that are accountability partners. They splinter off and they create subgroups within the group, or in the group, they're communicating with one another. But you have someone that's so close to you, and even if it's not daily or even if it's not weekly, right, to just send you a text, or as he's home, hey, babe, what do you need me to do, right? So that we move forward to this. That's awesome. So that is really cool. That's what they call couple goals right there, right? So watching this right now, they're like, hey, we need to get on the same path here, right? So I want to talk about your mom and your mom's book, right? And her publishing that book and you seeing what she did there and that kind of inspiring you. And then like your daughter seeing what you're doing at 7 years old, like that coming back around full circle. So your daughter watching you, you watched your mom. So that is even cooler right there, right? Just to see that there's this family history of publishing to it. Right?
Yeah, now my mom, I was able to add her to the KCF group.
Nice.
So she wants to get in there and learn a lot as much as she can. Cause she didn't know what she was doing when she published, and she's kind of had her book out there. She doesn't know how to market it. And so she's asked me a ton of questions, and I've tried to help her as much as I can lately. And now she's like getting novels written, and she's just really excited about the whole adventure too. So
now, does your mom write on her own, or is she?
Yeah, my mom's a writer.
Gotcha. Okay, got it. Is that where you picked it up too, as far as being a writer?
I think the creativity. Yeah, I think I get that from my mom for sure.
Got it. It's interesting how you can take like a label, right? Like having the ADD, because I've been labeled with ADD as well, right? And then being able to turn that into something positive. Another similarity that we have is in school, your teacher is telling you that your writing is okay, but listen, you're never going to be like the next, Agatha Christie or whoever it may be. I actually had that where I failed English 101 not once but 2 times. And to think that here later in life, I could go in and publish dozens and dozens of books that I haven't written before, right? Books I did write, but to see that we could take like those labels that are given to us early on and run with them and let them become our identity, or we could say, you know what, I want to challenge this and see, what I can really do with it. So what made you say I want to challenge that label of not being a good writer and having ADD and still moving forward with it?
I just, I think mostly it is the support of my husband, that's kind of gotten me there. Because I mean, I've had two part-time jobs, and other than that, I've been a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And like I tried selling makeup online and stuff, and like I'm like, I don't know anything about this. Like, it's not at all a passion of mine, but I mean, I've tried to do a few things here and there, but just nothing really felt like it was a part of who I am. And so I think just seeing that it's a possibility to be able to write my own books and just kind of like, because there was no way I ever thought that I could be a writer. I was like, it's not going to turn out good. I'm going to need like so much editing. And,
Right.
but the books have turned out great. Like, people really like them. And it's like shocking to me because I did not see that as a possibility at all. And so I'm just like pretty proud of myself for that. And I'm just glad that I have people to support me. And my mom basically told me too, I was like, I want to write a book. And she was like, do it. She's like, it's not hard. Just put your words down. She's like, there's always people out there that can help put it all together the right way.
Yeah.
If you feel like it doesn't flow together. She's like, but it's yours. Like, if you have a story, write the story. There's no reason not to.
Yes. Smart mom, smart husband. And the fact that like you've written these books and kind of thought maybe no one would be interested in them, but then we're proven wrong by that. So I'm looking at your monthly. One of the things that you do is, and I noticed that you do this in the KCF Fast Pass Coaching Mastermind group, right? I don't know if you do it in the regular Facebook group.
I don't think I usually do.
But I'm looking at your monthly progress report, right? And it goes back from March to August, right? So March of this year to August. So March, you had 28,200 page reads, 812 orders. April, you had 77,924 page reads, 381 orders. May, you had 58,000 page reads, 831 orders. June, you had 32,000. 70 page reads, 1,075 orders. July, you had 24,466 page reads, 1,200 orders. And then in August, 25,876 page reads, 1,283 orders. There's definitely people that are interested in what it is that you have out there. So when you look at those numbers, like, what does that do to you? Like, does it really solidify the fact that maybe I have something here?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting because there are like thousands of people out there reading my books. And it's just crazy to me because I told my husband, even when I first started publishing, like, if I can just like make one person just like want to sit and just devour the book and just go through it and not stop till it's done, like, that would just be so exciting. Yeah. Just like one person. And I mean, I write mainly for young adults, so it's like teenagers sitting there reading who love to read like I did when I was a teenager. Like, that's all I want, is just for them to love it. Yeah. And now there's just like thousands of people out there and they're loving it. Like, I'm getting all great reviews and it's so exciting. And then the numbers, I am learning there's a lot of importance in the page reads. Mm-hmm. And so I just need more and more content. And that's one of my things, because then I'll have even more orders and more page reads, and I'm finally going uphill in my earnings now, which is exciting, because I kind of dropped down there for a while, which is because I did not publish content at all.
So you took a break in between? Was that it?
It wasn't really a break. It was like I lost focus because I added another pen name. Mm-hmm. And I hired a ghostwriter, created a whole new pen name around this ghostwriter while I was still trying to write. And then I also started trying to release children's books at the same time. So I had three things going, and I was editing the ghostwriter's books as well myself. So I just like had no time. So I didn't have any time to write my own books and release my own books, which were doing well. So that's what I should have focused on, because I mean, people were wanting more. But I was just like, oh, but if I add this and add this, then that's more sources of income coming in. But it didn't work like that. It was like, it just all kind of went all over the place.
So what are you finding from that? Because I want to add up from that 6 months, right? So in 6 months, you've had, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. So close to 5,000 orders, right? And if we go with page reads, you've had 28,077, so that's 100. You've had almost 250,000 page reads in 6 months. And then you said you kind of veered off to a little bit, right, to the left or so because you wanted to try other things. What have you learned about being focused now that you could share with anyone that might be watching this? Like, how has that taught you?
Yeah, I think it is important to put as much time and energy you have into the thing that works, because I knew that my writing, my novels out there were what was working, but I thought adding to it would just had to be better. But then it kind of made me lose my focus when I could have had in that time I probably could have released 2 more series or 3 more series. And instead in all the 6 months, I think I had released 1 series, and it was just 3 books.
Gotcha.
So I just felt like it was so slow. And if I just could have been focused, then I could have been like, I could have had so many more books out there right now. And all of those orders that you were just saying, all the orders and page reads,
Yeah.
There's like 1% of that is from the ghostwriter books.
Are you serious? So
Yeah.
the rest you've written?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all from my first series, and the box set that I put together from that first series.
Yeah.
And then from the series that I've been releasing very slowly in the past 6 months. So all of the page reads are pretty much from that box set from my first series. And then the orders are mainly from those books as well.
You're definitely onto something. I'll tell you, listening to you, my advice would be just to continue to find more people like the people that have already purchased your books, right? And
Yeah.
you're giving them more of what you've already given them because they're hungry. It's like a bestseller or I don't want to say best-selling, but it's like a popular television series, right? That goes on for years and years and years. Like the audience
Yeah.
get enough of it, until something happens. I used to be a big Walking Dead fan where I would watch like every episode. Sometimes like I wouldn't go on vacation or I wouldn't, plan things. It became really nuts. Like on the Sunday because a new Walking Dead episode was coming out. So the same thing here, right? You've got readers that are just like rabid readers who, if they know that you've got a new book that you're releasing or a prequel or whatever it may be, they're going to be there, right? So how do you give them more and how do you find more of those people? So
Yeah, I have great readers. So I've been enjoying that a lot.
are you running any Facebook ads or anything like that right now, or all of your page reads and orders just organic?
Yeah. So that one of my issues this year too has been money. So because like you say, you kind of don't need money to make money because there's so much you can do to go out there and market to people without spending money. But at the same time, like when it comes to Facebook ads, which I wanted to get into, I put so much money into it in the beginning without knowing what I was doing because of that impatience, where I was just like, I'm going to start one and see what happens. And then just like not following through and like learning how to do it properly. And so I did spend a lot of money in the beginning of my publishing, probably like January, February, March, and on Facebook ads that just like didn't go anywhere, like weren't converting properly. And but I do have one going right now to my newsletter that I think I made a post about it 3 days ago, maybe.
Okay.
And that's doing under a cent per click, which is just like insane. But it's my brand new prequel that I just wrote and just released a week ago. And I have, I think I had what I posted was like 214 clicks on it.
Wow.
And then the people who downloaded the book and joined my newsletter, there was 211. So people who are clicking on it are actually following through and joining my newsletter. So, and then today, I think I wrote it down because I was like, wanted to make sure I didn't forget.
And that's a huge conversion rate, right? You've got a couple of hundred people. You've got 200 plus people that have actually clicked. And then you've got almost that number of subscribers, which almost never happens, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, it wasn't like that with my first prequel that I released in December.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one never did that well. So it was nice actually going in and doing some research and studying and then like figuring out what people do want to read. And I've talked to my readers like extensively about it as well. And then I just wanted to put a book out there that people really want. And so far it's working really well. And that's all thanks to Caroline Trainer, by the way.
So Caroline Trainer is one of our coaches in the Fast Pass program. If you're not part of the Kindle Cash Flow community, you can actually join the Facebook group for free by going to kindlecashflow.com/Facebook. There is a wealth of knowledge in the Facebook group. Speaking of Caroline, right? So one of the things that Caroline did, and she mentioned this on the last KCF Live, and when I interviewed her as well, is she kind of got the course and she jumped into it and didn't follow the steps and just said, I'm gonna watch the videos that look interesting, basically.
Yeah.
So you're in good company. The fact that you did that initially, and I think a lot of people do that. I think because we just want to get started, right? We're so eager to get started. But then the fact that maybe you've gone back to the course, I don't know yet. Maybe correct me if
well, yeah, I've changed things up a lot. Like even though my books were doing really well to begin with, like when it comes to like people enjoying them, like the writing is good and the stories are good. It's just like the marketing wasn't there, and just like the launch, I had no launch strategy whatsoever. Like, it was Jawar who told me, he was like, you have that 60,000 word book. And this was when I was joining the Fast Pass group. He was like, he's the one who brought me into it. And he was like, you have that 60,000 word book, like break that into 3 books. Like, he's like, you have your first 3 books right there if you just break it up. And then I actually ended up breaking it in half because that just is how the story fit better with me. And then I wrote 4 more of them, about 20,000 word books. So I didn't start with the course the way I probably should have. And I also didn't have a prequel at the beginning. And then I kind of added a prequel to start getting newsletter subscribers. And it was just all over the place backwards.
I'm glad you said it, because I was just about to say it, like you were just all over the place. But the fact that you got on track, which is great. So that just shows that anyone that's watching this that is off track, I mean, you can definitely get back on track. I think every single day is a new starting point for us.
Yeah.
Right? Every day is a new starting point. So now the fact that you had this one huge book, right? And that's your 65,000 book. You spoke to one of our coaches, Jawar, and he said, you've got content. You should break it up. Is that what you did? And then you broke it up?
Yeah, I broke it up. I didn't break it up as small as he wanted. I was like, nobody reads 10,000 word books. Like, why would I do that? Because then I could have had a whole series right there. But I was like, I had this plan, and it's like, that's my creative side. And it's like, all I've read are like longer novels. So like, why would I break it down to 10,000 words when like, I don't read those? Yeah. And so I just didn't see like why it was important. And it has taken me like all of this past year pretty much to see the example of all of the other coaches and all the other members of the KCF, and that I'm like, you know what, that probably would have worked better if I would have actually like broken it up better.
All right. So I wanna introduce Jawar. Jawar just happens to be here.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing? So
good.
I'm talking to, let me see if I can squeeze into the camera. We can both get it. Do you want to move the chair over there? So I'm talking to Gabrielle. And she mentioned, I didn't know you brought her into the Fast Pass program.
Yeah,
so
that's what. Yeah.
So she was saying that she had a 60, and I keep getting this wrong, 60,000 or 65,000.
I think there was about 69,000 words.
Okay, so I'm really shorting you 9,000 words there. 69,000 words. I promise I've got it right for the rest of this interview. And you said, hey, you've got enough content to break this down into a series, right? Yep. So she said that's what she did, and that set her on the path there.
Awesome.
So, Gabrielle, how important was it for you to have a coach, for you to have someone to, even though you have a course, right? You're going through a course, but also to have someone give you, just maybe those 2 or 3 pieces of advice to, hey, take this and break it down.
Well, yeah, when I joined the Fast Pass, I mean, because I was kind of freaking out in the beginning, and I was like, there's just so much information and I don't know what to do at all. Okay. And like what I had was this one book, and I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? Because this isn't part of like what they teach. And so when Jawar came to me and he was like, hey, you want to join the Fast Pass group because it looks like you really like are into this. You really want to do this. And because I was commenting on posts, and I was really excited about the whole process. And I was like, yeah, let's talk about it. And then he just like gave me this whole like list of things that I need to be doing, like step 1. And I was like, now I have this thing. Like I took a screenshot and I was like, I'm going to follow this list exactly. But then of course I was like, well, nobody reads 10,000 word books. Like, why would I do that? And so I was like, I'll do a 20,000 or 30,000 word books. And then it ended up going slower. And then I was like, I didn't have a prequel. So I did not follow your advice very well.
I'm curious, if I may,
I'd like to talk on.
what was it that made you decide, and I'm going to put Caroline on last year because she did the same thing, right?
We were just talking about Caroline, actually, yeah.
Right. Caroline did the same thing, right? Because I brought her into the Fast Fast as well. And now she's one of our coaches, and I'm sure you're probably going to be one pretty soon too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
How did you decide to divert from what I shared with you, even after you made the investment and hired a coach? Right? Like, yeah, I mean, I'm really curious as to what your thinking was behind it at that point, because that's something that I think a number of students have done. I give them the information and they still decide to go another route before they come back and say, you know what?
So yeah. And see, my thinking was I had never read a short story before, and I had read a lot of books. But also, like, I have this creative side of me that's just like, it just won't look good this way. Like, I don't think it'll look good this way if there's just like, if they're short and ending on cliffhangers, and I just don't see it working that way. Just because like the big, most famous authors you see out there, a lot of the times have the big, long novels. And so that's what I wanted to be, was this big famous author. It wasn't about like doing it right to make the money until I can become that famous author and then write whatever the heck I want. You know, and like I didn't see that future side of it. My husband actually did say that. He was like, if you just follow it exactly now, like what Jawar has told you, then in the future, like you can write those big long novels and people will wait for them. Like people will be excited for them. And I was just like, nah, I don't know. I'm not. Like, it was that creative side. It was that creative thing that just like, it's not what I'm seeing from the most famous people out there. So why would I do it?
It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense, right? So sometimes one of the hardest things to do is to go against like sometimes what we're taught, or to go against what's inside of us. So to be honest enough to say, hey, you know, it just didn't make sense to me. You know,
yeah. And I think it's those people that are very much more like the creative, because I think Caroline's that way too. She's very creative and she likes to write and she likes to do all that side of it. And I think that those are the people that are just like, I don't want to just go in it for the money, you know, but like, if you think about it, like, you know what, go in it for the money, like publish the books, make the money, and then you'll be there. Like you can do whatever you want creatively. Like you can be there within the year. And that's just the kind of thing that I didn't look at.
Now, is that something that you have to continuously remind yourself of every so often? I'll give you an example. I've been making an attempt to stay away from sugar, right? And we have a tray of cookies that's in the kitchen. We had a party over the weekend. So I got to continuously remind myself, stay away from the cookies, even though I'll slip every once in a while and then grab a cookie. Is it the same way, right? You say, hey, let me continue to publish shorter books. Even though inside of me, I want to publish longer and I want to write longer content.
Yeah. Or when I'm writing, like I want to sit here and focus on this one paragraph and make it absolutely perfect. And it's like I spend too much time on it. And then my husband's like, you have an editor. Like she'll look at it and tell you if that's good or not. Like you just need to like write and get the content out there and just keep going. Like, you know, money loves speed. And so me, it's like, but it has to be perfect. Like the wording has to be perfect. Like I said, what too many times in this paragraph, you know, like I can't. Yeah. It's like I want it to be absolutely perfect, but then you see some of the books out there that are just like making the most money. They're not perfect. They have a good story. Yeah. Like they're edited well. Other than that, it's like people don't really care. It's like people just want to read. They want to keep reading and they want to get the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. And that's something that I have to remind myself of all the time. It's just like when I'm writing, I have to end it here. Like I'm at 10 to 15,000 words is kind of in there. Like I've got to end it and then move on to the next one. Like I can do that. It's okay. Just forget about this one for a minute and move on to the next one.
So turning off that creative faucet, which is interesting, right? So
yeah.
And you brought up a good point. There's a lot of books that are out there that are doing extremely well, because they're entertaining, right? Not necessarily because of the grammatical format or the way they're laid out, but because they're entertaining. Entertainment sells like crazy. So as a creative person, reminding yourself that as long as the entertainment factor is here, that's like one of the number one things there, because that's what's drawing people in. It's the reason why we go see movies, right? It's the reason why we read books. It's the reason why we have some people in our lives, because they're just entertaining. They may not offer much substance, but they're the most entertaining individual, right, that we know at the time. And you're like, all right, I got to call so-and-so over again, or let me get on the phone with so-and-so because I know that they're going to brighten up my day in like the most silliest way ever. Or why we watch cat videos.
Yeah.
Cat videos, but they can be entertaining, right? So
they mean absolutely nothing, but we like watching them.
that's good. Hey, Jawar, I love it, man. Any other questions before you leave out for Gabby? Or
Well, I wanted to ask you, so based on your experience thus far, what's next, maybe in the next 3 to 4 months for you?
Yeah, actually, so that's something I did last month. So in the beginning, I didn't do the coaching with the FastPass. It was like Jawar helped me. I sent him messages like, hey, I can't figure this out. And he'd always respond, which is like awesome. But I didn't actually do the coaching calls because that didn't.
1 second, Gabby. I want to set Jawar up and I need you to help me. How are you sending him messages? Was it on Facebook? Was it by phone or what?
Facebook Messenger.
All right. So if you're watching this and you need help with your Kindle publishing business, send Jawar a message. The more messages, the better. So if we can get thousands of people to inundate and flood his mailbox on Facebook, that would be awesome. Help me set him up.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so helpful. And that's what he told me in the very beginning. Like, if you have a question, just ask me. Like, I'll be there. I might not be there like the same day. I might not answer in a day, but I'll be there and I'll answer it. And so there was always an answer, which was great. And then with Caroline, so this last, so the first live event this year, was it March, April? And
yes.
Okay, April, yeah. So I got to have that free coaching, sort of short coaching session with Caroline, and that's when I met her. And I was like, wow, I just like love this person so much, like that fast. And I thought it was so great because we have similar journeys. And so then I was actually paired with her again when I did the free coaching for this past live event. And she was like, this is so perfect because I didn't plan this. Like, we didn't pick each other.
Yeah.
And then we started kind of messaging on Facebook Messenger back and forth a little bit. And she was like, do you want to do the coaching? Like, you can do just like one coaching call with me and we can see how it goes. And I thought that was so great. And so we did a coaching call, and she has like set me up, basically like told me like, stop wandering off. Like, there's nothing else you need to do, but just like write your books and get your books out there. Like, follow the course exactly, do the interstellar launch, and you'll be there. And so I'm like, okay, like, like it's a lot less stressful, but at the same time, it's like so stressful because I feel like I need to be doing more.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the hard things. But I have in the past month, so I talked to her, it was almost exactly a month ago. And I've written a prequel and launched it and getting great people on my newsletter from there.
And this is the one you're running ads to now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 200 something clicks. And I know you had those numbers. I think you said you had some data written down. So I want to talk about that as well. But go ahead. So
yeah. And then I've written the first 2 books of a new series as well. And I'm halfway through the 3rd one.
Wow.
So like, she seriously just like was just like, just write, like just get the content. And then she's like, you don't even need to start publishing them yet. Like, get the first 3-4 books written, and then just start releasing one every single week, and like, don't stop there. And so I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Like, cause I know I can write a 10,000 word book a week.
Yeah.
Like, I was writing 10,000 words. I was doing 35,000 word books for my last, it was a 3-part series for my last series, but it took me 3 months to write one of them because I was doing all these other things. And then once I can actually like sit down and write, like, I know I can just get it done. Like, I can get the content out there if I just focus on that. And that's been my main focus lately, is just writing. And now I have 3 books in the past month ready to go.
Very cool.
And so, yeah, so it's been really exciting that way. And I have another series planned out too that I want to write after this one.
Nice. Okay, so you're continuing that momentum. So how many books do you plan on having in this series that you're working on right now? Is it 3, 5, 7?
6. I'm gonna do 6.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so you had some data from your Facebook ads. Did you want to share that? Hey, Jawar, I appreciate you. Thank you, as always, for contributing and for bringing Gabby into the group.
Congrats again. Yep. Glad to see you on here. All right.
All right. Good to see you.
So I think I interrupted you the first time when we were talking about Facebook ads, and you were maybe going to share some notes that you had written down.
Yeah. So this ad that I started it about 7 days ago, 8 days ago maybe, and so for the past week, I've done very little spending because I wanted to try to make it perfect this time without spending much money and getting no results.
Yeah.
And so I've spent only $27 in the last week.
Okay.
On this one ad, and I've been getting, it says 0.087 CPC.
Okay.
So less than a cent per click. This because I didn't think that was possible.
I asked you for a second here, Gabrielle. So I heard the 0.087 cost per click, and then you said something else.
Yeah, and I said which is like less than a cent per click, which is just like like I didn't think it was possible.
Absolutely.
But it's because I did the research on like what people want to read, and I feel like I got a really great cover created based on following the example of other authors in my genre, and I think it's just kind of really resonated with people. And I've had as of today, I've had 311 clicks, and I've had 396, I believe. People join my newsletter because I've also been joining promotions on BookFunnel.
Gotcha. That's awesome right there. So, and do you know how many of those subscribers came from your $27 spend so far, or?
Yeah, I believe it's about 300, and I see I didn't write that number down. It was like right around 300, but I've had 311 link clicks.
That's awesome.
So it has been converting really great.
Really cool. Congratulations on that. You know,
Thanks.
That's something that you just continue to push, right? You continue to push it. Now that you're building up your list, you've got that first book, and you push that book out to them, and just continue that process. It sounds like you've got like your demographic for your readership like down pat. How important in your mind is it to just know who your audience is, like to know your reader?
Yeah, it's really important. And I've learned that through the KCF course, pretty much just to like ask them questions, because you just want to get to know them because they're the ones reading the books. So if there's more people like them out there in the world, then we want to find those people. And so I do that a lot. I send an email out Monday through Friday every day to my readers, and I have about 28. Oh my gosh, not 28. Yes, 2,800 readers.
Nice. Okay.
That's right. I believe that's right.
Very cool.
So, and I'm hoping to build that number up as quick as possible, which is hopefully going to be happening with this new book that I just released. Gotcha. So, I mean, a lot is going to happen in the next few months. I'm going to just like write books like crazy. So I'm really excited about all of that.
What's your goal? What's your goal as far as for the rest of this year, right? And it could be anything. I don't want to lead you into the answer. Like, what is your personal goal for X? And X can be anything. It could be number of subscribers, number of books published, amount of money being made, your personal enjoyment, whatever it is. What's your goal?
Yeah. So I actually have a goal to be making 10,000 to get that first plaque by New Year's. Okay.
So one of these bad boys.
Yes.
With gold plaques by New Year's. So these are for individuals that hit the $10,000 a month level of Kindle publishing. And then we have the platinum plaques for people that hit the $20,000 a month level of Kindle publishing.
Yeah. So, and then I have a goal for that one as well.
To cool.
Hit that point by my son's 6th birthday. So March 20th.
Got it. All right. So, and the reason why I asked you is because if you're watching this and you're in the community, let's help Gabrielle here. Let's hold her accountable, right? I think that's how we all succeed. Like we succeed by being able to put our goals out there and then having people that are gonna hold us accountable in whatever way. By simply nudging, maybe sending a message, hey Gabrielle, where are you with your goal? Are you still working on pushing towards your goal? What are you doing right now to push forward to it? So if you're watching this and you're in the community, send her a message, comment on any of her posts, because she's always posting in the group.
I am, yeah.
Let's do it. Let's work towards helping one another. Right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I see that a lot of our successful students have in common is the fact that they're always in the group. Like they're either posting in a group or they're commenting on someone else's post in the group. How has that helped you? Like how has being in the group, looking at some of the comments, looking at some of the posts, how has that helped you?
It has helped me so much. Like that's one of the things I did most in the very beginning, is just go through like everybody's posts as much as I could. And I would always go up to the search and try to search for whatever topic I needed and find somebody who had posted about it or asked a question about it and kind of see what their answers were. And so I learned a lot through that. And then it's one of my favorite things to go in there. Like I get an alert every time somebody posts in the FastPass group. And so I can go in and like answer their question because I feel like I have learned so much, even though I didn't apply it in the beginning. Like I've been here for the past year. And so I've been learning. And I like to go in and just like, hey, if I can answer this question, that's so exciting. Like I want to help people. I want to, because that was one of my favorite things, like when I get answers immediately, because I feel like the KCF community, like they're so ready to help and so ready to answer each other's questions.
Yeah, it's almost like a race, right? So you post a question in there, you've got like 5 or 6 people going in and just commenting, and then you're getting different perspectives also, which is cool.
Right? Yeah, it is. And then sometimes I'll answer a question, somebody else will answer it differently. I'm like, I never even thought about it that way. Like that's so exciting that I just learned something new when I was trying to help somebody learn something new.
Yeah. I think the thing that I like about it is the fact that, so if you have the program, right, you can go through the program and you can learn, but you can also learn by looking at the comments and the questions that are answered and then the responses as well. So, and then you also learn, it's kind of like tutoring. So helping yourself to learn by answering and helping other people who have questions. So really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Gabrielle, this has been fun. I don't want to hold you. I know this is a Sunday afternoon. You've got your family there, but I definitely wanted to get in contact with you and just to bring your energy into an interview format, because I definitely appreciate you as an individual. Love everything that you bring to the community. For the individual that is watching this, that may be saying, hey, I'm a writer, but I doubt that someone will want to read my content, similar to the doubt that you had, right? Like, what do you have to say to that individual who says, yeah, I love writing, I love doodling, I love journaling, but nobody's going to want to buy my stuff. What do you have to say to that individual?
Same thing my mom told me. If you have a story in your mind, put it into words. Doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense to anyone else at the beginning. Like you just put it into words in the way it makes sense to you. Because everybody has a story one way or another. Some people are just like, I'm not interested in at all typing on a computer. Like that's okay. You don't need to. But if you feel like you do have that story and you feel like you could come up with a story, just start dreaming, start daydreaming, start imagining what it could look like. Think about books you've read before. Like I feel like it is so easy. I mean, of course it's not perfectly easy or we'd all be doing it, but I feel like it's so easy to just like put your thoughts into words and just like, this is what I think a character should say to if somebody said this to them, like, and just write it down. Even if it doesn't make sense right away, you can go through it again and again and again and make it as perfect as you want it to be. And then there are people out there as well who are like trained editors, or like they'll even completely rewrite sentences for you. But if you have the story, just do it. Like there's no reason not to.
Yeah, I love what you said, and that is to put it into words in the way that makes sense to you, right? And just get it out of there. Hey, Gabrielle, we're going to close it off with that. As always, I appreciate you. If there's ever anything that we can do here in the Kindle Cash Flow community, definitely reach out, and we are there for you. So have a great one. We'll see you And I'll see you at KCF Live. I don't know if you're going to be joining us.
Yes, I am. Absolutely.
You're one of the faces that I'm always looking for, like out of the hundreds of people. I'm like, all right, there she goes. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I like being there, and I doodle and draw pictures of people talking. I can't help it.
So you got to definitely, that's one of the highlights right there, right? So at KCF Live, you have to see some of her artwork. She'll come in and she just goes in and doodles, and we never know what she's going to share. But I actually, after, like once I'm done speaking, sometimes I'll go in a group and I'm checking out what it is. Like you drew a tree, and it said year of a paper, and then there was like this tree.
The book on top of it, yeah.
The book on top of it? Yeah. So
yeah, it's like the book is growing from the tree.
Yep. There you go. So I love it. Hey, Gabrielle, we'll see you at KCF Live. And if you do not have your ticket to KCF Live yet, go to kcflive.com and you can grab a free ticket, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Gabby. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you so much.